Red has to do with the root chakra, and the reason that I wanted to that color is because with my clients, I want to address the root cause of why they are coming to me. Because hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Youphoric, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the story behind the Team Youphoric name, logo, and color scheme, because there is a meaning and purpose behind everything. I did not just randomly pick everything out of thin air, and in order to take you along this journey, we are going to time travel all the way back to 2004. Back in 2004, that is when I graduated high school, and that is also when I started training part-time. The reason that I was doing it part-time was because at the time, I had not definitively decided that this was going to be my career path. I was going to use training as a way to make a little bit of money to be able to pay for university. So at that time, I had decided on the name Euphoric Personal Training. And the reason that I did Euphoric Personal Training was in 2004, I was having a conversation with somebody that worked in a gym, and we were talking about the demographics of the type of people that would typically buy personal training. And they had mentioned how it was usually women between the ages of 25 to 45 that would buy personal training. So I wanted a name that was not going to be threatening to that demographic, since those were going to be most of my clients during that time period. And I was trying to figure out what exactly could I do. And then I thought, euphoria. You know what? Everybody loves to have that feeling of euphoria, so why not go with something along those lines? And I settled on Euphoric Personal Training. That was back in 2004, and I maintained that name for several years. Then fast forward to 2009. 2009, that is when I really started to get into personal training full-time. I had decided by that time that I wanted to make this my career, and I didn't want to do anything else. So in 2009, that is when I transitioned from a part-time personal trainer to a full-time personal trainer. And that was also the same year that I ended up getting my health problems. For those of you that have been following my channel, you know that back in 2009, that is when I started experiencing symptoms with ulcerative colitis, and I was getting a lot of blood in my stool, stuff like that. And then in 2010, that was when I had my official diagnosis of ulcerative colitis. 2010, that was also when I really started getting into holistic health because of my health problems. That is when I discovered Paul Chek for the first time. Paul Chek, he had this book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. I actually did a book review on that book years ago. I'm going to include a link right up over here if you do want to check it out. It's a great book. I highly recommend you get it. But anyway, Paul Chek, he has this thing called the 4 Doctors, and the 4 Doctors, it is essentially Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, Dr. Movement, Dr. Happy. And if you can balance those 4 doctors, you are going to be able to optimize your health. And at the time, that was going to be very, very important for me because I had only really ever focused on nutrition and exercise. I never really paid attention to Dr. Quiet and also Dr. Happy, which is going to be managing your stress levels and rest and recovery. So those were 2 huge missing puzzle pieces that made a tremendous impact with regard to my actual physical health. Another person that I really started following in 2010 was Charles Poliquin. I read his book, The Poliquin Principles. I'm going to include a book review that I did on the Poliquin Principles right over there. Another great book. I highly encourage you to get it if you are interested in learning how to write programs. But with regard to Charles Poliquin, I started taking a lot of courses with him and Paul Chek back in 2010, and that kind of changed the way I looked at program design and how exactly I wrote my programs. Up until then, all of my information that I got was on bodybuilding.com, and it was very, very bodybuilding focused, my program. So when I started following Charles Poliquin, it completely changed the way I was designing my programs, and his courses were absolutely tremendous. And then that is also the same time that I started following Ann and Chris Fredericks from the Stretch to Win Institute. I'm going to include another book review. This one is the book review of their Stretch to Win book. Terrific book. And that is also at the time period that I started getting into fascial stretch therapy. Really, really great course. And pretty much in 2010, that is when I transitioned as well my target demographic, because between 2004 and 2010, I primarily worked with people that were trying to either lose fat or build muscle. Whereas in 2010, because of my own health problems, I became a lot more interested in holistic health. And that is when a lot more people started coming to me for things like fascial stretch therapy and also health related conditions. So in 2010, that is when I became a holistic health coach. Pretty much over the last decade, from 2010 up until now, I would say 80+% of my clientele has been either professional athletes looking to improve their performance, or it is somebody that is either in physical pain or has some type of medical condition that they are trying to get treated. So from 2010 up until now, that has been my target demographic. And in 2013, I decided that because I was no longer really doing personal training and I was doing more lifestyle coaching, that I needed a new name. And I liked the name that I had, but I needed to modify it a little bit. So I had settled on the name Euphoric Personal Training and Life Coaching, and that name was a complete nightmare. It was just way too long, and in order to do a website, too many letters to type in. People were not going to be able to have that concentration and attention span because people cannot type for more than 5 seconds. So I went with that name temporarily, but it was never something that I was really happy with, and I always wanted to change it. So then in 2016, that is when I officially decided to change my name to Team Youphoric. And the reason that I did that was because I am a very big MMA fan. And if you follow MMA, you know that a lot of the MMA gyms, they have the word team in them. So I wanted to somehow incorporate the Euphoric name, but also with my love of MMA, I wanted to incorporate team into the title. So I had decided on Team Youphoric because, again, with MMA, there's Team Alpha Male, Team Renegade, American Top Team, Caesar Gracie Fight Team, there's Team Elevation. There are so many different MMA gyms with the word team. So I thought Team Youphoric is a great way that I could kind of honor MMA and honor my old personal training business and combine them into one name. Another thing is I ended up changing the spelling because when I had Euphoric personal training and then Euphoric personal training and life coaching, I originally spelled it the way Euphoric is originally intended to be spelled. That is EUPHORIC. And then I decided to change it to YOU. And the reason that I changed it to YOU was because I wanted to make my slogan, "We Focus on You." So it was Team Youphoric with YOU. And then the slogan was "We Focus on You," as you can see by the picture behind me. And another thing is I also decided to change the color scheme. My old color scheme, it was just purple and it was not very pretty. The logo was not very good. So I hired my cousin, who is one of the top graphic designers in Ontario, and she ended up coming up with this great logo based off of the requirements that I gave her. And the requirements were I wanted the colors to be red, and then I also wanted violet. The reason that I chose those two colors is because when I got into Paul Chek is a holistic health practitioner, and he was really into the whole chakra system. So with regard to the chakra system, red is the root chakra. That is the first chakra. And then violet, that is going to be the crown. The crown chakra, that has to do with spirituality, determining your why exactly you are doing what you are doing. So I wanted to incorporate those two color schemes into my actual logo. And that is how I came up with Team Youphoric, the spelling, and also the particular color scheme. Red has to do with the root chakra. And the reason that I wanted that color is because with my clients, I want to address the root cause of why they are coming to me. Because a lot of people, when they do come, they are going to come with certain complaints, and their complaints often are not due to the area that they are focusing. A lot of times it is due somewhere else. This is why with the Chek Institute, there was a lot of assessment stuff, and a lot of it was getting down to the root cause. You need to assess because you need to determine what is the root cause of the patient's issue. If you don't assess them, then you are going to be guessing at what the problem is. If you're not assessing, you're guessing. That is one of Paul Chek's favorite sayings. And I actually made a video years back. It was a whole series on assessments, and I'm continuing it this year. I'm going to include a link right up over here. So if you are a trainer looking for ways to assess your clients, go ahead and check out that assessment series video. But in that assessment series, a lot of times what's going to happen is when people come to me for a treatment and I assess them, if they complain for something like their shoulder, a lot of times the root cause of their shoulder pain is not directly related to their shoulder unless they had some type of physical trauma. If they ended up tearing their pec, or if they ended up somehow injuring their shoulder by hitting it somewhere, then yes, you can conclude that the actual shoulder pain is coming from the shoulder. But unless they actually physically injured their shoulder, a lot of times the pain is going to be coming from elsewhere, which is why I ended up determining red, because I wanted to determine the root cause of the problem. And this is something that if you are a personal trainer, this is very important to know. You can have pain in one area of your body and it could be originating from somewhere entirely different, because absolutely everything is connected. Your shoulder pain, it could be coming because of your pronated foot. So if you address the root cause, which is going to be the foot, you can alleviate the symptoms with regard to the shoulder pain. That is why I chose the color red. And then the color purple, again, the violet has to do with the crown chakra. Crown chakra has to do with determining what exactly is your why. And also a lot of my patients that come to me, we have to work a lot on the mental aspect of things, because a lot of people have really trouble exactly determining why they want to do the things that they do. And also they have these programs in them that make them do the things that they do without even realizing it. I'm going to include a link right up over here called Balancing Extrinsic and Intrinsic Motivation. That one gets into determining your why. But with regard to my particular patients, I had a lot of clients that I worked with them on the mental aspect of things. And I'm going to share one example. One of my clients, I ended up doing these archetype exercises with her, and we had determined that she was the caregiver archetype. This particular client, she would come to me, and every single session, without fail, she was always 45 minutes late to our session. Our sessions were 60-minute long. And with regard to this one woman, once I ended up getting into more the psychology aspect of personal training and holistic lifestyle coaching and all that type of stuff, it helped her tremendously, because with her, I ended up doing the archetype exercise. We found out she was the caregiver, and with the caregiver, if you do not work on balancing out helping yourself with helping others, what's going to happen is you are going to drain all all of your own energy, because you are going to put all of your energy into trying to help other people, and you are never going to be able to accomplish any of your own goals, because all of your own goals are always going to be put off to the side, and you are going to focus all of your time and energy on other people. So with this girl, we did this exercise. We determined that that was her archetype, the caregiver, and then we gave her some exercises to be able to find ways that she could actually do things for herself, where she wasn't always giving all of herself away to other people and just completely neglecting herself. With this one particular woman, the first thing that we did was, a lot of her problems originated with her father, because when she was with her father, she was never able to say no to him, and that was why she was always 45 minutes late. She would always be talking to him because he would have to ask her questions, and she would never be able to say no. So he would ask her something and she would end up talking to him for an hour, and then she would be 45 minutes late for our session. So we worked on little things here and there to be able to get her to kind of stand up for herself a little bit more, speak with her father. And sure enough, after a while, these little changes started to show up. She started being 30 minutes late instead of 45, and then she started being 15 minutes late instead of 30, and then eventually she was able to finally actually be on track, be on time, and she was able to develop enough self-confidence in herself to be able to tell people around her that she needed time away from it. She needed time for herself to be able to do this one thing that was really beneficial for her. So that was the reason for the violet. When I work with a lot of patients, I want to determine what exactly is the root cause of the issue, and why exactly are they trying to accomplish what they are trying to accomplish. Because without knowing the why as to why you want to accomplish your goal, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to stick to your goal. But that's pretty much it. That is the story behind the Team Youphoric name, and also the logo and color scheme. I know this isn't the type of video that you guys are usually used to seeing from me. You're used to more educational stuff, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, I do plan on doing a lot more of these types of videos in the future. Every Monday, I'm going to be doing videos about myself and my coaching practice, so you guys can get a little bit more of an inside look into myself rather than just having all educational content. If you guys do enjoy it, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.